Hello, it's Ben at Fidelity Designs here. I'm just going to make another video just to have a re-look at a couple of popular products for upgrading Rega turntables. And the first is the popular Rega Subplatter upgrade. So it's a 6082 alloy Subplatter. It has a stainless 316 grade steel shaft, and if we can we'll just spin one up and have a look at it. As I've shown before, the bearing works very well. Have a look at the Rega bearing. Now bear in mind it's not really a fair comparison because the phenolic resin subplatter in the original version, it's much lighter, so it doesn't store as much kinetic energy, so you can't expect it to be spinning for ages like the alloy version does. When you fill it with oil, it's going to slow it down. It's not going to spin like that because you've got the oil taking up the gap in between the shaft and the liners inside the bearing lining, so it's going to add friction, slow it down, but that's not a problem. The oil allows it to run nice and quiet, even adds a bit of belt tension, which can be beneficial for regulating the speed of the turntable, and it gives you that quietness and long life, which is so important. Okay, we have another look at it. You can see the design is slightly different now. This is the final design, so very similar to the original. Your platter runs on the outside, raised edge. There's nothing in the centre now. We just have a look at the liner. It's got a silicon nitride ball. I don't know whether you can see it. It's embedded at the bottom of the liner in an alloy carrier. So silicon nitride ball is incredibly tough, amazingly resilient. You can hit them with hammers and all sorts, because I've tried, and that's going to last you a lifetime. Fixed in the bottom, so you can't lose it, it's not going to come out. The liners at the top and bottom of the bearing sleeve, or the bearing as we'll call it, you've got Delrin liners. Delrin is a polyoxymethylene engineering plastic. It's got what would be described as a very high lubricity, so it's often described as self-lubricating. It's not, it's just the surface of it is of the material. It's extremely low friction, and it's described as the lubricity of the material. And in metals, brass and bronze also have good levels of lubricity for metals. That's why Rega used a brass liner on the standard subplatter and bearing, but these modern engineering plastics go even further than that. The shaft is supported at the top and bottom because there's no real forces on the middle, so it's just adding friction to the setup. And it also, the void in between the two liners also acts as a reservoir for oil, so it improves the lubrication of the bearing. Works extremely well. Subplatter can be used on its own for RP1 turntables and some others that use the smaller bearing liner, so they don't use this 18mm diameter variant. They use a smaller 12.5, 13mm slimmer sleeve for your subplatter to slide into. Couldn't make one of these for those turntables because there just isn't enough space there to fit the liners in place. The walls of the sleeve would be too thin. Okay, filling with oil, yes. I provide instructions with the product and also a small dropper bottle full of lubricant, and these usually take about 10 drops, but you know it's full because when your shaft's fully inserted, you will see a small amount of oil between the top of the bearing liner and the subplatter itself. So in that gap there, you'll see a bit of oil running around the top. That's when you know it's full to the top, and it's the same with the standard version as well. These only usually need about 3 drops because probably already have some oil in there, and they require less oil because they don't have the void in the middle. They don't have any liners. I'm just having a look at the platter upgrade. This is a brilliant upgrade for the Rega turntables. because I would say out of all the upgrades this is the one I would do first, because it makes a profound difference to the sound of the turntable. They sound absolutely superb. These platters are between 23 and 24 millimeter thick. You have a recess cut on the reverse side to compensate for the extra thickness of the platter, and the overall height of the platter will be 15.5 millimeters. So that compensates for the depth of the original platter and the mat, which is about 3.5 millimeters thick. So these are to be used without a mat, and that's it's part of the reason why it gives such a marked upgrade in regard to sound quality. They're 300 millimeters in diameter, so the same size as the record, and there's a recessed edge cut around the top, so that allows you to get your fingers under the record to lift it off easily. Otherwise it can be a bit tricky. You need some nails to lift it off. So no mat required. The record is in contact with the platter. You've got a small recess there for the record label to fit in, so it's completely flat on the platter. And the similar properties of the acrylic and the vinyl record, very similar. So the two sort of merge together and you get a great lack of resonance there. I mean, glass resonates, metal platters resonate, especially at higher frequencies. You don't get it with these plastic platters, which are very similar in resonant properties to the vinyl. So big upgrade there. Everyone that puts one of these on their turntable, they remark straight away at the improvement in sound quality. More detail is often one of the first things that people say, just picking out details in their recordings that they've not noticed before. So you can have fun listening for those little things in the recordings that you'll be able to pick out with this upgrade to your turntable. Okay, there's probably plenty of things I've forgotten to mention about these products, but I just wanted to make an updated video to show you the products as they are today and shipping. So you can have a look at these products, www.fidelitydesigns.limited.co.uk. So that's LTD, Fidelity Designs Ltd.co.uk, and hope to have some more videos up soon. Pleasure.